Good morning, Azeroth. It is the 14th of May 2025. Grab your morning beverage and welcome to the stream. Today, with another reset, we crack on with our Nightfall and Undermine Weeklies, as well as check out whatever new additions the turbo boost to the season will grant us. Without further ado, let's get stuck in. Hope you're doing well today. You're about halfway through the week. Take it steady, keep yourselves hydrated. You've got this. Let's quickly grab up all our stuff so we can get onto Hello 4. I don't know the specifics of how the turbo boost thing is set up, but I'm sure we'll find out as we go. These. It's like a bounty poster. Beat any bosses on normal or higher. Well, never mind. That won't be applied to me there, but I know there are a few other bits and bobs. But that's how you get your puzzling cartel chips. Finally, that let you get whichever piece of equipment you want from that tier of the raid, from what I understand. They've also upped or removed the season cap from a lot of crests, just for the remainder of the season, which means at the very least we'll keep going over, and that'll be fine. They've also made Valor Stones transferable for your warband. There is some tax on there, which seems unnecessary, but sure. The cap of 2,000 still feels also unnecessary. I'm sure they have their reasons. Again, for the way I play, it doesn't matter too much to me. As ever, we'll go through our weekly stuff, grab up our coffer keys. Still sat on 12. Plenty to be, pardon me, working with. But we are fast approaching the cap from what we can get from tier 11 delves. Other than the gilded crest to keep upgrading stuff, we are hitting a hard limit. But that's fine. We've had more opportunities this patch than we have prior patches for, well, since Undermine at least. Not necessarily this patch by itself, but you know what I mean. Wish for this event they had created a way to get here quicker. Not necessarily a teleporter, but something to that effect.
To attack our veneration grounds. Make them.
A squadron of those noxious pests have infested the battlefield. Get
Quickly
in there
now.
and squash them.
Mine fed.
Stay alert. Beware of the shadows.
We did spend yesterday clearing out our war bank.
A squadron of those noxious pests have infested the battlefield. Get in there and squash them.
Start running things down. And for the sake of transparency on my end, we'll be a little on edge for a few days. So I think I mentioned a few weeks ago, it's been very ill, bless her. Struggling to eat, that kind of thing, losing a lot of weight. Went to the vet yesterday, a lot of infections, that kind of thing, like in her liver. Possibly kidneys too. And it's not looking good, kind of thing. We can try some antibiotics. They were considering an ultrasound for something more cancerous, which you never want to bloody hear. or already floating the idea of euthanasia, which again, worst case scenario. You're staying over at the vet's, keeping an ear on the phone, so there might be a moment where I have to dash off to answer phones depending on where other folks are at in the house. So suffice to say, a little bit on edge, but we'll continue on. We keep going. We keep farming. We just gotta hope the antibiotics help do a little bit of work.
Crawlers are retreating. Rally to me, and we will finish this fight.
But having lost our other cat a couple of years ago,
We've got them on the run.
where Ginny, bless her, loved her to absolute bits. Her back legs just started going as she got older, and then lost the ability to kind of get herself around, ate less and less, and just kind of withered away very quickly. Totty hasn't had that problem specifically, but to see it start going in the same direction is pretty hard. All the more reason of your pets and your loved ones. Take what time you have.
The flames' radiance. Defenders of Merodor.
Spend that time, tell them you love them, all that jazz. I don't mean to be so dour first thing in the morning, but I felt it was important to say it on stream for the morning. Because I know very much so that such things do affect my commentary, and whenever my mind's racing to be like, right, what am I talking about at the moment? Those blocks kind of come up, but do what we can. And I did over the course of the weekend and through the week finally get around to watching the Andor show, Star Wars Andor, which in the face of both so many shows getting just ruthlessly obliterated by the internet, which always makes it gets to the point of like, right, how much of this is superfluous and how much is genuine criticism? And it's hard to tell sometimes in just the wave of vitriol that ends up coming out. But Andor, for the most part, has been held up as, oh, this is one of the good ones. I did certainly enjoy it. I think that more personable story, getting away from more of the fantastical Jedi elements, and the... what's the word? The more grounded approach. The starting up of the rebels and fighting against the Empire, and all of the stress, intrigue, and machinations that go along with it, I think was really well handled, and I enjoyed it quite a lot. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as some of the pundits and reviewers just constantly sing its praises, but it was engaging and kept me going through the whole time. And I'm currently going through season 2. I'm up to date, bar what may have come out today. And one thing I really like in a story like this, especially with so much intrigue, is when we do time skips. Like every few episodes, they've jumped like a year later. And I really enjoy that. It gives an opportunity for kind of characters and scenarios to grow off-screen. Change things up a bit. I don't think every time it's necessarily done a lot, but it certainly kind of keeps you on your toes. Good morning, Emilis. Hope you're doing well today. Yeah, overall, enjoyed Andor quite a bit. We'll definitely finish through this other season, but I don't think it's necessarily got me to be like, right, I need to go back and catch up on other shows.
But stay vigilant. The enemy will return to throw themselves upon our blades once more.
Yum.
The sacred flame blesses us with victory. But stay vigilant. The enemy will return to throw themselves.
Get our satchel, get our crests. Again, all the caps for those crests have now gone.
Keep an eye on the dawn towers.
Valor points aside. There's our service emblem. Again, only the one. Ooh, bit of transmog. What's a standard polearm without being all voided? That's nice. Oh, how many cosmetics are hidden away in there? Alright, let's crack on with the other parts of the quest. How do we get that many Titan discs that quickly? My goodness. That is indeed some busy WoW farming, Embliss. I wish you luck. Here's hoping the various rewards drop for you today. There is some time walking going as well at the moment. They do keep going back and adding different cosmetics and rewards to various elements of time walking. I should probably check it out more often than I do. I know there was some stuff data mined where probably for the next patch is time walking when they do BFA for it. There's like Deathwing's Mace, Durotan's Axe, the Battle for Azeroth Sylvanas Bow. There's a lot of fancy stuff getting thrown in just across the different vendors. I just wish there was more to time walking than just doing the dungeon and raids. I wish there was something about, not necessarily old world quests, but something to go and engage with the story. And maybe the new story vignettes with Lore Walker Cho they're doing next patch can fill that gap a little bit. Maybe that can be more involved with time walking. I'll have to see what angle they approach it at, though. I still think there's a lot of opportunity to be had there. Don't get me wrong, it's not like time walking dungeons are necessarily difficult by any means. It's just, when it comes to especially farming that currency, the time warp badges, it's not a quick farm, even to get a couple of pieces you want. It takes a lot of time, and it's just spamming dungeons over and over and over again. Great for leveling, but if you're like me and you've leveled pretty much everything you're going to level for the foreseeable future, it just feels a bit like, eh. There's gearing opportunities in there as well, but even so. I think it'd be a lot of work to kind of add stuff to the old continents to get you going back in a way to engage with that. Maybe when player housing comes in and they want us to go and get old materials, maybe there's some kind of time walking boon to a zone. Something that says, hey, go back to this zone during time walking and you'll get double the ore drops, double the herb drops. Something like that to encourage you to actually be in those zones while you're queuing. But yeah, we'll see what the new story thing they've come up with ends up doing. It's always interesting on PTR season because I don't want much to be spoilt for me, especially in terms of story. And I tend to just get a chunk of headlines, thumbnails more than anything else. And I'm just slowly navigating. I know there's studies that show that when you've actually been spoiled for something, you tend to enjoy it more. Which I always found quite fascinating. And I'm not as like pissy about spoilers as I used to be. I used to be very like on edge about it in a way that wasn't healthy. But especially when it comes to story stuff, and now I'm streaming, I like for my reactions to be as unbiased and uninformed as possible when it comes to story. Gameplay mechanics neither here nor there. I also like being surprised by stuff. I think the game has not exactly done the best job at pointing out everything you can get. It's not like something comes up and says, hey champion, we've added all these new things to time walking. You should go check it out. You know what I mean? There's no real lead in that lets you know, oh, we've added some more rewards. I think that's something they could certainly do better. Especially for the more solo-oriented player like me, to let me know, oh, there's something that, you know, you might want to break your regular gameplay habits to go and try and get some of this. We think it'll be worth your time. You know what I mean? Just a notification sounds odd. But I don't think it really needs a quest. Something to pop up and say, the time walking vendor is blah blah blah. Maybe if we had some kind of, without the need of add-ons, some kind of in-game list of vendors for specific events like time walking. Like maybe there's an NPC you could go and talk to in Stormwind, Orgrimmar, and current expansion capital that's like, here, click me, and I won't sell you everything the vendors do, though I'd like that more, rather than having to swan off and find all the vendors. But it was just like, this is what these vendors are selling, or here's what's new to their inventories this month, this cycle, this patch, whatever.
Light. Always be prepared.
What? Forgot to hand in this one. Then one more, and we will jump our way over to Undermine. Make sure we kill a few rares when we get there for these Titan disc fragments. I don't necessarily need to complete it today. Delves guarantee a lot of those. But it's just for more coffer keys.
We must prepare for Belladar to shift. Always be prepared.
I'm still mixed on the coffer key thing because it demands you do another bit of content that you might not want to do in order to get those. It's not like dungeons have, like, oh, you can't loot the end boss if you don't go and do world quests. And I know activities out in the world and weeklies are more likely to be consumed by people doing delves, generally speaking. But I think it should be more of a bonus than a necessity. You know what I mean? Like, it's unlock something else within that chest, or chance at a bonus item roll, which again to many will still feel mandatory, but otherwise it defeats the purpose of doing the Battleful delves. Like, if you're not going to open the key at the end, why bother? Kind of thing. Explode your barricades. Out of my way.
I need to get closer.
Also been steadily keeping up with the anime watchings. One Piece does what One Piece does. Which again, I like so much of the bumped up animation. It's just, they took that giant break, which they've never done for that show's entire history of being on the air. Changed its time slot in Japan, which in theory means you could get a little darker with it. But they still use the same sound effects they've been using for decades. And it feels like when you've had that much time off, a real wasted opportunity, and probably some kind of higher up saying, no, we are not going to spend money doing a load of new stuff, but it's still enjoyable. You know, I read it week to week when it's out. But seeing what the anime throws at folks is always fun to see. There's been that My Hero Academia spin-off, Vigilantes, which again, leaning really heavily into that comic book style a lot more. I really like the look of that show. And that more focused boots on the ground story rather than large heroic aspirations. I've been really enjoying the little character bits. So I'm eager to see where they end up going. They are tying more and more characters from the main show in. Which at some point, you've got to think, how far can we go without breaking canon and really make it interesting? How will it tie back in? And that other hero show, that My Hero X, which again, constantly shifting its art style, doing some very interesting stuff, and looks pretty good for the 3D sections, which is the majority.
We're all down here together.
But I'm starting to get a little confused and annoyed. Because we've had... Oh, we had the first 4 episodes with our main character. And there's some pretty big cliffhangers at the end there that harken back to the end of like the first episode, which was really impressive. I was like, oh shit, things have gotten real. And now, last 2 episodes, we're just with a completely new character. Completely new character. And I'm like, how does this... I can see in the end credits this new character is seemingly sat there. But we're going to do 4 episodes of a new character each time. It just kind of killed momentum. But then, near the end of that one, you realise, oh, this is set before the first 4 episodes, like, chronologically, it's set before them, and it's like, why are we... Okay, like, the intrigue is keeping me there, but it is starting to get a little topsy-turvy in a way that's frustrating. I don't blame you there, Emilis. Wano was a lot to get through. Should probably keep Cerise's circlet, because it's still meant to be best in slot. None of the others are any good. Transmog do I want then? Or I could collect 6 of the things. What can I use them for again?
Extended supply of goods
The thing that adds sockets. That's probably going to be helpful. Right, that's probably going to be helpful to a degree fighting the underpin, but
My directive
negligible. Transmog for me. I think there's enough on Egghead for you. Like, Egghead's a really cool arc. There's a lot going on. There are some big revelations coming up. Some crazy shit that's already happened. It depends how you end up watching it. If you end up then just kind of binging rather than doing a bit on a week, I'd maybe wait until the arc gets towards its end. Again, I don't know if you've read the manga, so I'm trying to avoid spoiling.
My thanks for your patronage. May Rook nor Ram take you far.
Well, I'm not one necessarily with the vibe of Egghead, like the area it takes place in and the whole technological stuff. It's not really for me. Story-wise and bigger revelations for the world, one of the best, I think. Nothing for me is ever going to beat the Paramount War and Whitebeard. I just love him. Just love him. Huh? We finished up our trader's post. It is Weechy. Tiny doggo. Get your butt out of my screen. Very cute little animations. What a silly little doggo. I don't think there was anything else for the traders' tendies I wanted this month. No, big hedgehog. It was all the angry druid type stuff. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles references. More of these vigilante masks and skirts, which they keep doing. Yeah, I'd rather keep the tendies for a month where... Because there have been plenty of months that have come out and I have not had bonus tendies for all the stuff I wanted. So I should probably hold off and not just spend for the hell of it. Get over Undermine. Yeah, I think that's about how that goes, Emilis. Feels like an age since we were at Wano. Again, Egghead's still very much worth watching.
The cartels are always hiring temp workers to pick up odd jobs.
Quartermaster, what's up?
See if you can lend a hand.
Stuff.
I'll be waiting. Won't find better.
Oh, there we go.
Thanks for stopping by. Come back for
So
more.
they're coughing me guts out at this end. It's fine.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah? Watch
Right,
your
where are we at?
back.
Revered, revered, honoured, honoured. Let's do Venture Code because they're pretty behind.
Keep cool.
Good stuff. And don't let them work you overtime.
Okay, still all worth doing. We got surge pricing starting in about 5 minutes. See if we get a scrap pile or a couple of rares. God damn it. Just missed it. Scrap pile. One up and back there. I know I've said this nearly every time, but I am going to miss all the jazz music. It's been delightful in Undermine. All in all, there are a couple of things I think could have been handled a little better, but for the most part, I think they've done pretty well. Especially for a part of the game and a race in the game I've never had much care for when it comes to goblins.
Get that out of here.
But they made me not necessarily overly passionate about them, but certainly way more intrigued and enjoyed following on with the cartels, and happy to see the goblins kind of organized in a way that speaks to what future possibilities they'll have. It's still very neutral. You know what I mean? It's not very horde focused. Even with Bilgewater under Gazlowe, that are the horde assigned goblin faction, lack of a better term. There wasn't really much of that. It's not like Thrall came over and had a good old chat with Gazlowe, which feels like a missed opportunity. And the whole thing with Renzik and everything kind of lended it more to an alliance feel, just in the background. And I think that by itself would have been fine if there was kind of a horde counterpart to it. I think that would have hit a little better. If maybe... I know, because Renzik was so central to a lot of stuff. So you couldn't really have that scene just for alliance players. You'd have to then kill someone off horde side. But I think there was just some missed opportunities there. But at the very least, get Thrall in for a conversation. Given his history with Gazlowe, and the goblins in general, and all he's tried to do. Maybe get a little vengeance on Gallywix himself. But then again, it's meant to be a goblin story. You couldn't turn it into a Thrall story per se, but... could have done with a little bit. Do we get to the next scrap pile in time? I think I get to this race in time. No, I don't know if I go the wrong way. Oh, rare, never mind. Oh. Give it. Lovely jubbly. Right, I think we just start doing jobs for Nana now. Surge will begin shortly. A quick swig of his beverage. Sure, I'll do the same. Keep yourselves hydrated.
It's go time, sugar. Let's make a buck.
Alrighty. Package acquired. Still, in all these weeks, not really learnt to drive very well. Felt like at one point I could rush around pretty well.
Got a work order for scum cleanup if you want the gig. Just be warned, the scum will fight back.
No, I have a package to deliver. There you go.
You did the job, and you didn't total your car. I call that a success.
Clean the statue. And there's the surge. Oh, and more. Beautiful.
Good job, Dollface. You made sure I got my cutting a tip, right?
Can you believe what this city is coming to? We got a rat problem. Deal with it, will ya?
In time, Grimlet, in time. Bought a book. Just had Hearthstone kind of drop a new mini set as well. It's more Emerald Dream burning the world tree. It's like Farak and all the flame druids and that kind of thing. It seems a bit unfortunate just because of the current state of that game's like standard meta. there's a lot of decks that just kind of are really uninteractable. So I just tend to stay in the arena mode, which I still quite enjoy. There's something about drafting a deck in any card game and knowing others are doing the same. And yes, some folks may be using some third-party thing to be like, oh, these are the best ones. But I think that if you don't understand why, it won't help you loads. And to be clear, I don't really understand why. I tend to pick stuff that I think is going to be fun. But on average, I do about, you know, between 4 and 6 wins, generally speaking. Unless I've just built something abhorrent. Or try and, like, you'll see a card drop, so like, oh, interacts with dragons. And you're like, oh, very good, I will build loads of dragons then. And it's the first card you pick, it's like a legendary or something. That's like every dragon you play now costs 1. It's like, cool. And then you get offered no dragons, and you're like, well, I just shafted that entire... God damn it.
Record time, sweetie. I'm moving you to the top of my Rolodex.
The Legend of Runeterra has an event going on for its, like, roguelike PvE mode, which is kind of just the main mode these days. God damn it. Stuck! Where you now kind of draft a deck in the current adventure they got set up, and that's really interesting because usually you've got a very preset deck that you then add cards to as you go. But in this one's case, you draft near the start, and it's just it changes things up enough where it's a lot more enjoyable. There's still a lot of things to be done with where that game's currently at, but given the size of the dev team, the downscaling, it's going to take a while for them to get truly back on their feet where they were. If they ever can, to be fair. Oh wait, that's a world quest. Which one's the...
I got a bet going on the boom ball course.
Too many overlapping quests. I need to get moving for another. You can always come back and do the other ones. There you go.
Sweetie, baby, sugar plum angel face. Thanks for completing that job. My pocketbook thanks you too.
Onward.
You're pretty world-wise, ain't you? I got a mook inspector that could use the help of someone with brains. Go talk to him?
I like you, Grimler, but they should probably turn off the audio stuff for the other world quests while I'm running about for nada. Rescue the crab from the rooftop. I'm coming, Daisy. There you go, get down.
Dollface, honey bunches, you're my favorite driver. And just don't tell the rest of them I said that, okay?
I'm sure you don't say that to everyone, Nada. Waste of a boost. Oh, it's up there. Shoot crystals. So other than the... obviously the puzzling cartel chips, those doing normal mode raids or higher to get specific gear. The crests being uncapped for the remainder of the season. I know honor gear and PvP stuff got a bonus as well. From what I understand, from what I read, it just ups the item level of anything, which kind of feels like, what does that really change in terms of PvP? If all of it gets pulled up, is that just on new versions of the gear? Because then everyone else who's already geared will just get pulled up. But you can't screw people over like that either, so... maybe that bump of item level just means if you're PvPing and want to go and do other stuff with said PvP gear, that will make it easier. It doesn't feel like it'll help in catch up folks wanting to get in, but either way, At some point we'll take a look at that, assuming the underpin goes down anytime soon. That'll be the goal. Hopefully we get some decent upgrades today. Give me a rep. Just while we're here, let me grab you. Deal with some dark fuse anyway. Lovely. One more. Oh, there's a scrap right there. It's halfway done. We dig, 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 and we'll dig, 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 we'll dig the whole day long. Ah. That's what I get for being nostalgic. Garbage thrown at my head. Shoe rats, don't bother me. Oh, there was an announcement from the Critical Role lot that for the summer their next kind of project is going to be using their in-house tabletop RPG system, Daggerheart, that they've made. So not 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Which I have mixed feelings about. It's probably a longer, not a rant per se, but there's a lot of feeling that maybe they will end up using that rather than the D&D system for the next proper big campaign. But within that RPG that Matt and many others have worked on, there's a setting called Age of Umbra, or Umbra, that is pretty much based on Dark Souls. Like, very grim, very challenging, very harsh to the players. And so this whole season across the summer is just going to be effectively Dark Souls D&D, which, to be honest, I'm very excited by. I mean, we'll see when it eventually launches, but if there's a lot of systems that really make it feel like that, it may end up being something I pick up down the line. Certainly will be cheaper than trying to pick up another goddamn, like, 5 to 10 5th edition, not even 5th edition, whatever the new version. What did they call it? I think they just called it, at one point they were going to call it 1D&D, and that just seemed stupid. So I don't even know what they're calling it now. But it would mean a lot of books would need to be bought to get up to date with where everything D&D is. Whereas if Daggerheart rather is just grab one and go, might help me in terms of getting back into it. Not necessarily finding a table, but so I used to pick up a load of the books just to have and to read through, do a bit of lore digging, some thought experiments for building up adventures, having those options there. Done it again, I've gone the wrong way. All these weeks, I still get lost. Oh, it's because it's up and round. Right. We also got into the 4th zone of Avowed yesterday, what I assume is either the final zone or the final proper zone, and then we get maybe something smaller for some kind of boss fight and epilogue, which can often happen.
Interesting. You trying
Blimey.
something, pal?
Well, it's been pretty good. Now we're just in, like, we've gone from desert to harsh volcano-covered landscape and acid pools everywhere, which, fantastic, great. We're really getting into the shit with it now. Hellish environment. But it seems pretty straightforward and not as topsy-turvy as some of the other environments have been. At least from a quick glance at the map as we entered yesterday. So I think maybe 2 or 3 more streams of Avowed to get it wrapped up. Probably. Might be a couple more. Maybe I go a little long on Friday and see if we can wrap it up there. Again, I don't want to rush it. Doom is going to be... It's out in early access. Not early access, but like if you got the premium edition, you got to play the game a few days early, which is it's a jammy tactic, but I get it. It works when you die hard. By all accounts, pretty damn good, which is exciting. I loved Doom 2016 as someone who had no bearing on old Doom, right? Never played them. Have no real knowledge or understanding past like the historical value and reverence for the series. At least for a lot of the earlier games. I know people didn't like Doom 3. But 2016 was just so good. It was such a good shooter campaign. The intro where the Doomslayer is treated as almost a biblical figure. Is in a tomb, breaks out, just starts killing demons. Everyone who tries to offer him lore exposition, he immediately ignores or punches the intercoms. Fantastic. And then he's going around, you've done those demons, you get to the end of the intro, the music from, what's his name, Mick Gordon's just blaring and it's fantastic. You get up the elevator before you survey the ruins before you and he cocks the shotgun in time with the music and you're like, oh fucking yes, I am here for it. Let's go and play this game. And it was marvellous. Doom Eternal was a little more hit and miss for a lot of folks. There was a lot more in terms of aerial maneuverability in the combat. There's a lot more getting about that way. And the weapon swapping and the combat puzzle of, right, for this weapon, for this enemy, you need to use this weapon. So you were managing, balancing, and swapping a lot more, whilst having to keep up that pace, which was pretty difficult. You know, parts of that game, those dudes with like the axe and the shield were a bloody nightmare. At least on, what was the difficulty I played on? Ultraviolent, something like that. And the devs have described Dark Ages as, this time around, it's more like you're playing an iron tank. You know, you have your throwy shield, you have a big flail, there's a lot more melee stuff, there's parrying, it's a lot more bullet hell. Feels like they're just trying something new again, which I've got to respect the studio for. Apparently, the story's not necessarily great. I think what made 2016 stand out so much is almost a secret source of where we know how ridiculous this is, and we're just leaning into it in a way that isn't up our own arse. Understands that it's absolutely ridiculous, and just leaning into the fact that the Doomslayer does not care what everyone around him is doing and saying, or what their justification is. He's gonna kill the demons because demon bad. Doesn't matter what you say, what pragmatic ideas you may have, Robot Man Samuel Hayden is going to do that. Eternal had like an Angel expansion or something that I didn't end up playing. Kind of enjoyed the asymmetric multiplayer in that game. It was like one Doomslayer versus two demons. That I think I enjoyed a lot more than a lot of people. On either side, it was okay. But they've completely got away with no multiplayer stuff, no snap map, I think that was the name, kind of thing for Dark Ages. A few more gimmicks throughout the campaign. There's meant to be like dragon riding sections, giant mech sections, which don't seem to have landed especially well. I'm sure they'll make up the pace and just be fine. And I'll definitely judge for myself. But from the way like IGN put it, and specifically like Skill Up's review, talking about the adrenaline rush you get from those prior games was like tenfold here, because you are just in, get on their face, get shotgun, do melee hit, do flail, reflect and parry all of their shit back at them. And that kind of fast, intense, thumping feeling, that adrenaline spike, was still so good for 2016 and Eternal. I'm actually really excited by that. If it's just fun to play, I'm having a great time. It being a little more open and exploratory might take away from how tight those levels have been in those past 2 games. How very crafted they felt. The moment you open that up, it can be a problem, but we will see. I know there's collectible to find, and I think in the same way Avowed has kind of been, there will be a lot of constantly popping up the mini-map for my geographically challenged ass. But nonetheless, very, very excited to get into it. I don't know how long it'll necessarily take. It seems like your average playthrough is anywhere from like 15 to 20 hours, depending on your difficulty. But we should have it done happily before Elden Ring Night Rain comes out. And that's going to be a whole thing of its own of just, can we play this game solo in a way that isn't just immensely frustrating? It remains to be seen. I hope. I like that more folks at From Software and the wider team are having this opportunity to kind of flex their development muscles and try something a little crazier. There's still more hints and teases that old Dark Souls bosses and or armor sets will be included, which is like, ooh, yes please. But I think it will mainly come down to how much of this can I play solo. And I'm sure there'll be folks either in the chat who pop along or friends of mine who will want to get on it themselves and will maybe join me on occasion. But because that's not a guarantee either, I'm going to have to make sure it is more than doable. At least for long-term streaming. And obviously, there are a couple of... There's a fair few games in the backlog in general and indie stuff. Indie stuff. What's an RPG that came out from India, which was apparently pretty good, now that I think about it. But there's a variety of games I want to get to. Problem is, a lot of my backlog has RPGs in it. Like, I definitely want to get to Clair Obscura sooner than later, because it's a big one, you know? It's gonna take a while. But it looks, the more and more I see, I keep seeing, like, shorts that come in and say, did you know, in the mansion, there are these secret areas, and I'm scrolling away going, no, don't tell me, don't bloody tell me. Do you know, if you saw these 2 people who were just getting it on in a nearby building at some point in the game, and you talk to them 33 times, they give you an item. Or there's a trash can. If you talk to it 33 times, you get something. And it's like, I'm learning things. Like, so far, it's been no major story spoilers. Thankfully. But we're starting to push that. One's like, oh, there's an arena at some point where you can only take one character. And that character gets a unique special weapon. So you probably want to take this character because it's one of their meta weapons. And I'm like, oh no, not all this, please. Although they did then say you can get that weapon later. It's just a little more difficult. Like there's a boss you have to fight. So I'm like, okay, it doesn't really matter. I will take what character I bloody well want. Thank you. A lot of articles like 10 things I wish I knew before starting, and you start glancing through and being like, alright, none of these are technically spoilers, and I'm probably going to forget them by the time we get to that game, but at least it's something to bear in mind. But it seems pretty beefy, and it's been a really long time since I last played a turn-based RPG in that style. Again, I never played any of the older Final Fantasy games. Why did that scrap job not count, game? Why did you shaft me? Oh well, we'll find another. But for what it's worth, Clair Obscura really showing up Square Enix and Final Fantasy in the sense that...
Alright, move along.
Why are you not working either?
Don't start trouble, pal.
Oh, damn it. I suppose Quest just don't want to do it today. But really showing that style of combat, because they've tried so hard in Final Fantasy to reinvent the wheel repeatedly. You know, you saw that in 13, you saw it in 15, you saw it in 16, you know, in a really big way, almost going more Devil May Cry with it. Which, to be fair, did make me somewhat interested to play that game. And like, ooh, I do like myself a little bit of DMC on occasion. but always because Square seemed like modern gamers will not play a turn-based game. We are past the age for it. And Clair Obscura being like, well, actually, maybe the problem lies elsewhere. I saw someone discussing, like, maybe the problem has just been all of that turn-based stuff, generally speaking, especially out of Japan, is so anime-themed. It's not for everyone. So maybe that's been off-putting for a lot of folks. You get a lot of the smaller indie stuff. You know, your Darkest Dungeons and that kind of thing. And obviously, lest we forget, Pokemon is a turn-based game, and it's not like Pokemon doesn't sell. But in that traditional JRPG, Chrono Trigger, Square Enix kind of way. That's still one on my pile of shame. I've watched playthroughs of Chrono Trigger. At one point, Giant Bomb with Ryan, before he passed, did a big old one-way, and Patrick Klepek just went through it, and I really enjoyed that. Wait. Hang on a minute. This quest is bugged out too. It says Slime Tanker activated, and I'm in it. It's activated. I think we do a relog. That's 3 in a row that I've just busted. Maybe the server's busy today and it's having trouble registering stuff? Don't you stop me logging out, emboldened bullies. Why are you like this? There's no way they kill me in 9 seconds. It's just silly. But there's certainly little bits for Clair Obscura that we're picking up over time that I'm glad I have stumbled upon. Something to the effect of, they don't have a lot of icons on their map for exploring. But when the developers want you to go towards the main quest, they light the way with lanterns. And so when you're in an area, if you see a path with lanterns and paths without, and you want to explore, you can go the other way. But then there's also, oh, when you finish the game, you can go back to older areas. This isn't bloody working either. Well, the relog didn't bloody fix it. Let's try somewhere else. Let's go do a race. That should just work, surely. But I know there was a lot of, like, frustration or supposed frustration around video games all using yellow paint to tell me where to go. And maybe the yellow paint example is just so heavy-handed. I think glowing lanterns leading you on the main quest path, that's a pretty elegant solution. I mean, we'll have to see it in practice when we get to the game. But that seems pretty, you know, unintrusive to me. And again, you've got to remember, with the fidelity of, get off golf post, of games these days, and how realistic many look and gun for, the whole yellow paint thing has become kind of necessary because a lot of players, myself included, tend to get lost. Not realize the ways to go, not realize, right, what in this mess of a mountain is climbable and not climbable. Race completed. Race did not complete. Alright, Summit's fucked. Summit's fucked. I can't complete any world quests, so let me go kill one rare. See if that at least drops me the pinnacle discs we need. If I could look and drive at the same time. No, you're down here.
We got another fire up here. I need all hands to put it out before it burns my
Is the drill being powered? It is. Which will summon a rare, and assumably, the rare will work. If it doesn't, we can go do our side gigs for some more rep, but... Pipe bow, didn't even notice.
I need a target. It's too far away. I need to target something first.
If we kill the rare and that doesn't count for shit, we definitely have to leave the zone. I guess that bar's filling up. Haven't seen it bug out like this for quite a bit now.
We got another fire up here. I need all hands to put it out before it burns my inventory away.
What you got? You got it.
It just reset the drill. It didn't summon the rare, and it just reset. But all the players vanished. Did they reset the server shards? Was that something they could just hotfix in? Question mark? It did reset. Look, that other world quest that went down to 0. Maybe they were having problems everywhere. My goodness. The joys of a live game and giant MMO. I just, in my mind, now I'm like, right, there's the devs somewhere at Blizzard just in a server room going, it's breaking, it's going to go down, red alert. And then there's just people darting between rooms and offices. Being like, hit the reset on the server. Well, we can't do it. Right. Just utter panic. For like 20 minutes. Then the cooldown period of people checking. Are we good? Have we deleted anyone's items? Has anything reset the wrong way? I can't imagine how stressful that kind of thing is for a game of this size. We had... What was that story for when Amazon's MMO came out? New World, right? Where the economy was so buggered early on, and there was stuff that players could interact. Now, I'm no game developer, but there was stuff people could interact with server side, where if you opened up a window out of the game and jiggled it mid PvP, the game couldn't register that you were getting attacked, so you effectively became immune in PvP. With a game with a giant PvP focus, that's insane. Absolutely insane that they even got to that point. Some people really liked the game. Hey, look, the boss worked. Fantastic. Stuff like that, especially when you're getting out of the gate with your new MMO. Not good. Not good. That really gets people... In those early days when you need to get people hooked. More importantly than any time. Really buggers them. Okay. So whatever reset they just did on their end, it worked. We're good. Right, let's get finished up then. Clear up our world quests. Finish our scrap gathering. And then jump on over to the side gigs. Or calling it for the morning. Means that a bit more scrap. Give me your bits. So many goblins. So many hyenas. All together now.
I don't have a target.
Lovely. Couple more should do it. Just that pile. Bum bum. Yeah, yeah.
I haven't seen scrap like that since the Great Scrappening. Nice work.
That's not a real thing, Grimler. That's not a real thing. You've made that up. Out some literal fires, as they've just done. No, excuse me. Too many bombs. Ow. Right, no bomb will ever make me fear quite as much as we've had with the underpin. Nor is likely to ever do as much damage ever again. I do like the fight, it's just... when you're in the thick of it and getting bodied repeatedly, it's very difficult not to be like... "Argh!" We will game. Absolutely will game. If it starts getting down to the wire of like, okay, the next 0.2 patch is coming out in a month's time, and we're still in the same spot, let's say, and we've maxed out gear pretty much as we can in the grand scheme of it all, might be time to start doing it on a daily basis. Because again, big goal, want to get it done. So if it comes down to it, that's what we'll do. Especially as we start getting through into the 0.7 patch. Do the golf.
I got a bet going on the boomball course, and you're gonna be my ringer. Get in there and
Hang on.
sink a few.
Before I get on with the golf, I'm just going to take a quick bio break, and then we'll crack on with more of our weekly things we need doing. So stretch your legs, refill your beverage. Be back with you in just a few minutes. I'll see you soon. And we're back. Thank you for your patience. Golf course music certainly helps, doesn't it? It's some balls. No. Come on, I can do this. It's easy. Hey. What was that golf game people got really into a couple of years ago where you threw yourself and you were the ball? I can't remember the name of it, but folks were enamored by that for a while. I think it did well as like a streamer game at one point. Been thinking of stuff to do in the meantime, possibly between Doom and Night Rain. Again, depending on how quickly we get through Doom. I think assuming we hit the 4-hour mark on a few streams, probably be 4 to 6 at a guess. I'm thinking of stuff that I've wanted to kind of get to in the backlog. One that stands out a bit just because of how highly recommended it's come from friends and how much it falls within my bailiwick. And that would be The Bazaar, which is... At first I kept thinking, I didn't look into it because I didn't want to be spoiled, because part of the fun for what I assume is a card game is finding out what all the cards are and what they do and how they work, and I don't want to find out beforehand. I want to kind of get into the swing of it there. But it seems less of a card game and more of an auto battler, but there's still, everyone calls it a card game, so that confuses me a little bit. But I am deadly curious to actually give it a go myself.
You got 2 under par, and I just pulled 1 over on my bookie.
So I think we'll, if with the time in between, because again, Doom, I may end up playing it on a higher difficulty. I've been told it's a lot easier, generally speaking, than Doom Eternal, because you don't need to do all that crazy weapon swapping. So it might be worth doing on a higher difficulty. I played through Eternal as a baseline on Ultraviolence, which was like 1 below the hardest one. So I think that's probably okay, but I might even be tempted to bump it up a level higher still. Especially if it's that kind of in-the-face, lots of getting in the melee, and being that iron tank they purport. I'm probably going to really enjoy playing that, and being challenged by it. I imagine I can still, if needs be, turn down the difficulty, because again, especially when I'm streaming, I don't like being arbitrarily stuck on a game and pounding my head against the wall when it's clear, right, I'm not up to snuff here, and that's fine. I don't need to spend a week doing this one level kind of thing. I'd rather actually enjoy the game and my time playing. Oh, scrap pile. 10 seconds. No, robot, out of the way. Okay, I clicked. We're good. But I'll do a bit of research before we get to that point and see what the general consensus is floating around the interwebs. I'm hoping... Apparently, it's a very well optimized game as well, so I'm hoping we don't run into any problems. Should be able to play it on almost max settings. See if Digital Foundry's got, as they tend to do, have a good old video sorted. Always very useful to check in with their recommendeds.
We'll fight back.
It was certainly necessary for Monster Hunter. That element of, oh, this setting doesn't actually change that much, we've tested it, so you might as well knock this one off because it saves you this amount of GPU usage and that kind of thing. Like, they know what they're talking about. They've been doing it for a long time now. And it does help a lot. There is always the like built-in NVIDIA thing where you can kind of get it to give you a recommended graphics setting, but from what I understand, that takes a much more generalized, what is average people using with similar setups to you. Like, it's not ironclad in any way. It can be helpful, but it's not something to necessarily stake your claim on and think it's going to solve all your problems. So, Digital Foundry, MLS. If you've not heard of it, they go down and they break down like frame rates, where the game's doing, graphic settings, optimal ways to play. Not like playing a game optimally, but just getting it set up optimally. They've been around a long time, and they do a lot of good work. And just especially if your rig isn't the best setup, as mine has now kind of become, it's a good way to do a check-in before purchasing a game. And even in Doom's case, it's on Game Pass, you know? I'm not going to have to make a proper purchase, quote-unquote.
I'm listening.
But it certainly gives you a bit of help in figuring that kind of stuff out. And I do highly recommend it. It's a little more time to go through and dig through, especially if you're like me and not the most tech savvy, it gets a little overwhelming. Like, I don't understand why the vast majority of gamers don't like motion blur that much. Like, to the point they're disgusted by it. They're like, ugh, motion blur. Ugh, if the game doesn't let me turn it off, I'm not playing it. And I'm like, I mean, there must be a reason motion blur is considered the default. You know, like, surely they don't just do it to mess with people. Like, I've had it explained to me why people don't like it. I think that fuzziness just doesn't look as good, but it's meant to be helpful for the eyes. That's kind of the whole point, and it's never really bothered me. And I think when something is moving quick, that, you know, like in real life, there is a blur to the motion, and that it's more natural. So that's just one of those little things that I don't understand. But it's not like when you get into, like, what all the intricacies do. Some games actually list it out, which has always been very helpful. Like, oh, this is what this setting does, and they give you a little screen. Like Monster Hunter did this. They give you a little screenshot, and they're like, okay, this is what this thing actually affects in game. See, so explain to me, Emily. Explain why. Have we hit the nail on the head there? What is the? Where does the hatred come from? What is this general hatred towards motion blur? Is it just literally not liking how that looks? Who is this Tortolan I've never seen? Sore's a mort. About motion today, Say, aren't you the cause of all this ruckus, are you? Just give me a moment to shift into first gear. I'll be sure to give you a good wallet.
Not everything in the ocean is as good looking.
We need more Tortolans looking all Mad Max. That's great.
Oh, hey, you got
Solid.
him to come around. Good on you. Here's your cut.
But yeah, generally speaking, Digital Foundry just give you that extra bit of comfort in understanding and deciding where you want to go with something. Very much worth the time. Enough. I think that's a more than valid argument, Emily. Right? If you're trying to be very precise with your shoot, you want to have all the information and visibility high at all times.
I'm out of range.
I get how that extra layer of blur would make things a little more troublesome in that regard. Again, I've never played, or haven't really played shooters competitively enough to care, so I can't personally relate. Like, I can understand, I can't personally relate. There's a couple games that I've gotten into more into like a ranked setting where motion blur's been turned on, but again, it just hasn't. Because it doesn't bother me, I don't really notice it, if you get what I mean. Like, it's not something I see and go, ah! It's more just present. It's just a part of how things are for me. Don't get it. This isn't me shitting on people like yourself who dislike it, or just want it gone and off. It's just where I'm at with it, I suppose. But in any case, I think it's always better to have the option to turn something like that off in any case. You know? Especially when it gets to so many people. Like, just having the option is always better than not. People customize themselves. Okay, just had a purse for me. Fair enough. Alright, we just have the special assignment and then the side gigs, and we're good to go.
We got dark fuse coming in hot. Lots of dark fuse.
Sniper time.
Expert at killing them by now, ain't you?
I am indeed. Do our little momentary bit of Hitman. I think they could make that sound effect a little more impressive. Like, it's there, it just needs tuning up a notch. Heavier boom. Well, he's immune to snipers. Please. They respawn faster than I can put them down.
Oh,
Beautiful.
if Dark Fuse thinks we're gonna roll over and let him have Undermine, they better think again.
Can we grab a rare before moving? Ah, it's too far away. Again, in their rush to the Pinnacle one, we'll get it on our Delve Day.
Best deals in town. I'll be waiting. Come back for more.
I think that's fair enough, Emilis. Like, if you're
Thanks for stopping
on a
by.
game-to-game basis,
Come back
turn
for
it on and
more.
off, that kind of thing. I think that's probably wise when it comes to Siege of Orgrimmar runs, Emilis. You don't want to burn yourself out.
Have I got something?
Because then it'll just get to the point where you're like, I'm never doing this again, sod this. We should be more than entitled to, given the number of runs you've been doing of late. Oh, hang on. I can send that to my alchemist at some point, if I remember.
Won't find better.
Lovely stuff. Glad we just did a full clear of the war bank, because we're already stacking up more bits and bobs. Let's get over to those side. Oh, hang on. Nope, he's gone. Never mind. Straight away. Side gigs are the ringing deeps today.
Which side you on? Keep safe. Need some help? Stay sharp. Get it done.
Need a solution? A potion?
Oh, you went playing a hunter and I need all the goggles. It wouldn't surprise me that we're hitting a lot of goggles now. It's never been something I've enjoyed in WoW, but I get it. There are certainly a lot to get. And then you probably have to go engineer as well to craft them all across various expansions. I think that's kind of a fun checklist though. Wow, goggle hunting. I don't know how many like really unique, like overdone, crazy, overly engineered goggles they've done. I'd be curious to see stuff like that. But again, ain't really for me. Was it on the hunter to go with a gun specifically? I assume. All scoping. And again, the one thing you can't fault Shadowlands for is the huge number of cosmetic stuff they've got in there. I still don't know if they've fixed the getting an alt to go to Shadowlands to start collecting stuff, but being stuck in Oribos with no capability to start any quest or to even finish the intro. That's what happened last time I went there with an alt. It just broke. It was like, well, shit. Now I can't even see all these Covenant things. And that's the other thing. You're having to go through and earn all those Covenant rewards. I still don't know how that works with transmog at this point in time in the game. If you need to be in that Covenant to equip the transmogs or not. Like, I simply don't know. It's those little goals we set ourselves. I don't think there needs to be an important reason. You want to get those goggles. That's reason enough, right? Maybe limit it from every goggle in the game to, right, what is the transmog or weapon I want to pair with the goggles? What options do I want? And kind of go from there. Hit a smaller list so you can focus in rather than be like, there are so many goggles, where do I start? Why am I... Ah! You know what I mean? A more attainable goal. Little steps, as it were. It's kind of how I've got things for me broken down. Right, I need to go and jump in a puddle. Excuse me. Didn't they pull too many things? I think that'll certainly make it easier. Remember the Hallowfall Nightfall event is probably the easiest way to get gear at the moment. Do the event every hour. Do those side quests, pick up some catch-up gear from there. It's all like 266. Nope. 626, that's the one. We got a few of ours earlier today, and some of them are even higher than that. Some are 632, some are 623. But that'll be the easiest way to get geared up without even having to go through the Undermine stuff. Again, as kind of bare bones as that event is, at least it's another good way for folks to get catch-up gear. I just wish it had come with the horrific visions and other stuff just to keep it interesting. But only a couple of weeks out from that now. Okay, I need to clean more slimes and find some goblins. Right, no. Oop. There's a goblin. That sad, deaf blob noise. Oh! These gross little ticks. I don't like them. I don't like them at all. Come on, don't attack me. Be free. You're welcome.
Got a special recipe for you.
I don't have tentacles. It's okay, little goblin. Big blood fella, go away. Oh, it does work on him. Cool. Four more.
What's in the mix?
How dare you get involved? Gas mask, dude. Shoot!
I can't attack them.
Remember, any of the gear you get from that catch-up that's epic, and like these veteran ones that are above that level, you can turn into tier set.
Far away.
Currently, I think we are at 5 of those charges, up to a maximum of 8. So especially if you're not looking to do some crazy gearing beyond that, you might as well go and make use of that. Get the tier transmog, get the set bonus.
What's cooking?
And of course you can upgrade it and then maybe get another version of the set.
What's in the mix?
Very useful way to gain more transmog. I really like it. Oh no, the problems of Hunters, Everlist. Boar, please.
Need a solution?
That's one of those little things, always remembering when I play my Hunter and when we were time walking being like, turn off taunt, turn off taunt. I think it auto-turned it off these days when you enter a dungeon, but I still get panicky about it. Oh no, it's just breaking the flow in that way. Get out of combat, Boar, please. Just dismiss it. Just dismiss it briefly. It's fine. It's going to be fine. Swap to marksman. Don't use pet. Job done. Although I know for most hunters, that's the class fantasy of having the pet combat. But when he's being a little sod about it, always send him away to the... I appreciate you changing your language. I will say I try to explain to folks, just for the word I know you were going for, that the conflating that word with just a synonym for stupidity is something that for folks like my autistic sister is causing and has caused over the years a lot of problems. And so I try and gently nudge people away from... There are so many ways to call something or someone stupid, to try and edge them away from that. And again, I know 90% of the time folks just mean the word stupid, so I don't hold it against folks. But I got to do what I can. Again, as someone with a family member with a mental disability that would fall under that classification, just try and separate the two. And that kind of... No, it's all right. It's all right. Again, if you did more than most people by actually using another word, but I got what you're going for. It's more me just trying to educate, and even that sounds pompous to some people. But that there are... For example, when you get a big content creator or something using that word with impunity to mean stupid, then all their audience starts doing the same, and it's kind of accepted on the internet. You can just use it to call someone stupid. So I try and fight back against that where I can.
I'm on it.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes people get very, very angry and upset.
Always read the labels.
But it's just one of those little bugbears for me. And again, I was very... It used to trigger me very heavily, where I'd really snap at people. And I've really tried to rein that in over the years, because it caused a lot of friction. Especially when folks we talked about before, folks playing games like League of Legends. Their language tends to get flowery in general. I always hate arguments of oh, you're just trying to censor me. I'm like, no, if you have the freedom of speech to say shit I don't agree with, I have the freedom of speech to call that out, Pardon me. It's just one of them little things. Again, I'm going for you personally, Emily. It's just something that I will do with folks in chat over time. And I have the... What's the word? The base version of those words already under a YouTube filter, so it doesn't actually become a problem. So no, I'm done. He's okay. Right, let's see. I won't be able to upgrade anything unless I can transfer a few crests about.
Honored to meet you.
Let me see. Sell me junk. They're all for the war bank. I can spend some carved for these ones. Spend some weathered for some carved.
Farewell.
I know, I appreciate that, Amlis. Understanding is the best I can hope for most of the time. So I appreciate it.
We are united in purpose.
Another pack of those. Lovely.
May we all
Maybe we
find
get
what
one
we
upgrade.
seek.
I will do my duty.
Oh, they're all gilded. Oh, those two aren't. Okay, which one has strength on it? These two. This one. How far can we go? Just a couple. It's not a lot, but it'll do. Alright, let's get our other stuff in the war bank. And we'll call it for the morning. Oh, make another coffee key. Again, for those who didn't see earlier, here is the bounty poster. You do normal mode or higher, you get your puzzling cartel chips, and you can exchange those for specific gear from the raid.
My directive is to serve you.
Bop, 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 bop. Those potions in as well. Maybe try and organise these a little more. Back pieces, plate pieces, weapons. Those are blues, so I'm less bothered about their organisation. Same with the green, bob that over there. Plate chest. Yeah, it's alright. It's the start of a system.
Return.
We can finish up our Titan discs, our raid finder shenanigans tomorrow. With that said then, folks, I will say thank you very much. Oh, caps lock is on again, as it always tends to be. For watching. If you've enjoyed yourselves, don't forget to hit that like button. Helps push the video through the algorithm. Small folks come hang out, play some games with us. Subscribe for more content here on the channel. On the weekdays, we're at 9 AM GMT with World of Warcraft, and between 4 and 6 we start up with other games for the evening stream. Currently going through Avowed, with Doom coming up next. And you can find, pardon me, playlists to all the stuff we've already covered right here on the channel to binge to your heart's content. So until next time, folks, thanks to all those who've joined me live and those who watch later. Much love, take care, and bye-bye. Best of luck with your farms, Ebelis. Don't burn yourself out now. That's it, bye.